اللهم إني أعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. آمين. We made an exception today for a reason, because we were supposed to start the series. We started the series of how to understand the Quran, but I made an exception because of a request. And actually, the request came in a very good time for everybody, and definitely for myself. We just finished, alhamdulillah, 2 seasons of seasons to bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to learn our deen better, to practice our deen better. And that's actually Ramadan and Hajj. May Allah accept from everyone who went for Hajj, and for those who did not go for Hajj, may Allah accept their Hajj of the heart, and may Allah invite them sooner than later. Now, the problem always we face, and you always know this, and when people come back from Hajj, what is the first thing you want to do? You want to go and see them. Why? It's not because all this.
No, because their du'as are accepted.
Dua is accepted and all this, but usually you want to go and look at their faces. And there's something, I don't know if you have seen this, but some people come back from Hajj different. The look on their face is different. SubhanAllah, you really have to pay attention to this. This is something you don't study it in the books. It's something you see. And then when you talk to these people, something happened to them in the Hajj. They're not necessarily something strange. It's just they felt different, or they did things different, that they came back different. So this is beautiful. This is amazing. This is what you always have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The problem is what? Once I come back, and then I come back, alhamdulillah, first week, alhamdulillah, second week, alhamdulillah, then third week, then gradually. And not only from Hajj, but that's also when you go for Umrah, that's also Ramadan, that's also sometimes without any of these things, but sometimes you feel you're so strong, you wake up for blood Fajr, you wake up before Fajr, you do everything Allah wants. You control your tongue, you don't look at haram, subhanAllah. Sometimes, and you are the same human being, the same person, sometimes you feel so weak that you easily succumb to things that you normally is not a big deal for you. And this is actually, the concept is absolutely there in our deen. This is part of our iman, it's part of our creed. That iman, faith, increase and decrease. That's well known. Al-iman yazidu wa yanqus. This is when you study creed, when you study aqidah, they teach you that faith gets stronger and gets weaker. And then they teach you exactly this line. Al-iman yazidu bil-ta'a wa yanqusu bil-ma'siyah. The iman, faith means what? Let me translate first, and then I'll go on this in detail. Faith will increase by obedience of Allah and decrease by disobedience of Allah. That's the principle. So what does faith mean? Faith, something I feel, absolutely, right? Al-ilmu bil-qalb, right? And then al-amalu bil-jawarih wa-tasdiqu bil-lisan. My heart knows, my body, every part of my body acts, and especially my tongue says. This feeling and these actions and these reactions changes. One day increase and one day is decreased. And that's why you come back from Hajj, you come back from Umrah, even you go out from a class, or you read a book, or you read the Quran properly, you wake up for that day, you wake up for Fajr, and you were, subhanAllah, you did a beautiful salah, or you controlled your tongue and you didn't say something, and you feel so close to Allah. So these are, number one is fact. I mean, why I'm putting this as an introduction. This is a fact. I have to accept it. And I don't feel too bad and down because I am not the same as yesterday, or I'm not the same as when I was in Mecca, or when I was in that situation or that situation. Having said that, that doesn't mean, okay, alhamdulillah, so it's a fact in deen, so I don't have to worry, so my iman will get lower, and I'm in a good shape. The answer is no. Because when your iman gets weaker, when the faith gets weaker, it's going to continue to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and then Allah knows what's going to happen. So I really need two things. We're going to get to the second, that's what we are going to talk about. Number one, I need to identify it. I need to identify that my iman is getting weaker, because that's the first sign. How do you feel this? Simple. Number one, look at the basics. How is How are you with the obligations of Allah? Start with the obligations. Don't talk about fasting tomorrow, fasting Thursday is Ashura. I'm talking about basics. How I am with my salah, meaning my morning, my fajr, my dhuhr, my asr, my afternoon, my maghrib, sunset, and my isha. How I am. And when the faith gets weaker, this is what happens. And you all probably will feel this. You're not going to just miss the salah right away. Look, today you have been doing the 5 on time, mashallah, beautiful. And then tomorrow suddenly you wake up and then gone. It doesn't work this way. Shaitan doesn't work this way. Why? Because if he works this way, it's not going to work. It doesn't work. It has to work gradual. So this is usually what happens. And this is where you're going to, once you see this, you're going to basically wake up. You're going to start yourself feeling lazy. Meaning, Salah is at 12, and you're going to say, you know what? And I'm not talking you have reasons. No, there's nothing. You're at home. Or you are at work and this is your break. And then you start feeling lazy. You know, it's 12, let's do 12:15. Let me finish this, let me finish that. So gradually, you're going to be weaker. You're gonna be less attached to the salah. And gradually, it's going to start slipping by delaying. That's one. And if you are a person who, alhamdulillah, you're doing your extras, you're doing your voluntary salah, sunan, you're going to start yourself skipping these. Skipping them. It's sunnah, you know, it's like I'm busy, dhuhr, oh, it's 4 before or 2 after, or 2 after or 4 after, that's 45 minutes, you know, I'll go home and I'll do it. Gradually, tongue, gradually it's going to start slipping by 2 ways or getting weaker. Less dhikr of Allah. Normally you came back from Hajj or you are strong and you sit after Salah, you do all your adhkar. Gradually it slips away. And you used to control it very well. You don't talk about people. You don't say but the truth. You don't do any of these things. And gradually you're slipping. So these are, I just gave you some examples. These are the signs that literally you need to wake up and start doing something. Because if you don't, or I don't, or we don't, it's going to be weaker and weaker and more difficult and more difficult. It's like when you first have a fever. Think of it this way, because it's a disease of the heart. It's like disease of the body. You have a fever and you feel you're going to have, you feel it's a flu is coming. What do you normally do? You say, you know what? I'm feeling not well. So I'm going to take it easy. Right? I'm going to probably not do this, not do that. I'm going to make sure I drink a lot of fluid. I'm going to sleep today because I don't want to get to it. If I don't do this, I am really going to get sick and then I have to stay home. That's how it is. And if somebody doesn't do this, what do you tell them? I told you. I told you take it easy. I told you drink a lot of fluids, take rest. This is exactly the same. When you start seeing this, you don't feel it. The salah, what did you read? You have no idea. You're not there. You're not connected. Stand up or sit down and say, I need to take action. And what is the actions? That's what we're going to talk about. What is the actions? What do you think? There's many. It's not one. It's actually like 10. Okay, istighfar. A lot of asking Allah for forgiveness. Make a dua. Ask Allah, supplication. I'm going to come to this, but I just want you to think with me. Read Quran, absolutely.
Extra sunnah.
Do extra good deeds. Okay?
Think of what is wasting your time.
Okay.
Telephone.
Fast.
I'm sorry.
Fast.
Extra. This is all of the extras. So extras, and we're going to come to it. But I just want you to think with me. What else I do? It's 2 important things. 2.
Don't just
Remind yourself, but actions. These are all actions. It's not feelings. These actions.
Acknowledge that you are.
Oh, I thought you said it. Seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. Learn. Remind. Don't say, I know it. Oh, I've heard this before. Keep reading it. Keep doing it. Knowledge and company. Who you are spending time with. Who are your friends? Who are the people you chat? Who are the people who you like to go out with? So remember these, and I'm going to take you through it. Number 1 is a dua. Number 1. Once you start feeling I'm weak, I'm not there, I'm slipping, dua, and I'm going to share with you in every point. I'm going to share with you one. This is a beautiful dua of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. The Sahabi, a companion, asked him, and he said, Ya Shaddad, actually. And he said, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam looked at him, Shaddad ibn Aus, and he said, Ya Shaddad, look at this. This is so much like us today. He said, when you start seeing people start collecting gold and silver, اكتنزوا, collecting more and more and more. فَكْنِزْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. You start collecting what? These words. So he was teaching him. When you start looking around, you see people are, and I'm here commenting, competing, and you know the competition we all have, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. And unfortunately, the competition is so easy. It's available. It's free. I wouldn't say it's free, but it's cheap. It's not too expensive, and we love it. So we run for it. It's not something I don't like it. It's the other way around. It's something you like, and you say, you know, for example, and this is just for you. The other day, I was looking for something I needed to buy, right? And then the guy was telling me all these options, all these new options, and these new options are beautiful. Right? It's something for the house. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and it's not that expensive. With this option, maybe $50 more, or $100 more. With the option, without the option, $100 less. So what are you gonna usually say? Well, it's just $100. It took me for about 10, 15 minutes, and I said, no, you're not doing it, because this is too much. And I'm not going into details, but it was so tempting. And everybody in that store was trying to make me buy this. So the point I'm trying to say is, all this life and dunya material thing is available, is there, everyone has it. And people look down at you when you don't have it. That's the other problem. If you don't have it, people will like, oh. So he said, when you start seeing people collecting and gathering gold and silver, you collect the following. And he taught him the dua. And the dua says the following: Oh Allah, I ask you steadfastness in this matter. The first thing he was asking him, when he starts seeing people competing, you turn to Allah and says, Ya Allah, keep me steadfast on this deen. That means what? Staying steadfast is not easy. Otherwise, I will not turn to Allah the first thing and I say, Ya Allah, keep me strong. Right? It's like, for example, somebody who doesn't like exercise. Right? What do you always say? Ya Allah, make me love it. Ya Allah, make me do it. Right? But some people who loves it, they stop. What is the problem? Normally. So number one, Ya Allah, I ask you steadfastness in this matter. وَالْعَزِيمَةَ عَلَى الرُّشْدِ. And the resolve, I'm asking you to have put in my heart the resolve to stay on this straight path. The resolve to stay on this straight path. And I'm asking you, every deed, every saying, every action that will bring to me your mercy and love. It's a beautiful dua. Now, see what he didn't ask anything specific. He asked some things are general, but the most important one is I want to stay. With the dua or the supplication is saying, I want to stay straight. I want to stay on this straight path. So I'm asking Allah, keep me. I cannot do it alone. I'm too weak. There's too much temptations around me, especially for us, those who we work, especially those who work, because you are exposed to a lot of other things. A lot of disobedience of Allah, a lot of things that you don't like to do, but you will maybe have to do because it doesn't fit, all these things. So number one, I ask you steadfastness in this matter and put in my heart the resolve to stay on the straight path. And give me everything that will bring your mercy and love to me. And I ask you, and I want you to pay attention to these, because these are one of the reasons that will keep you strong. I ask you to be grateful to your ni'mah. Grateful to your ni'mah. As we always say here, count your blessings. And I'm not talking blessings, a car and a house and children. I'm talking about the blessings in me as a human, as an individual. I can see, I can hear, I can breathe, I can walk, no pain. I can wake up in the morning, I can understand. All these basics. أسألك شكر نعمتك. Make me grateful to your ni'mah. And حسن عبادتك, that I worship you in the best manner that you like and I can do. And I ask you, now put this, sound heart and a truthful tongue. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because these are the reasons we start getting weaker. I start saying things I shouldn't say. I start listening to things I shouldn't, and the heart starts getting weaker and weaker. قلباً سليمة, sound heart and a truthful tongue. And I ask you from every goodness that you know. And I seek refuge from every evil that you know. And I ask for forgiveness to what you know, because you know everything. You are you know what the hidden and the unseen. So number one is a dua. Dua, you really turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, and if you don't know this dua, I actually have it for you here. I may make copies later. In Arabic and English, I put it. By the time, till you memorize this dua, the bottom line, you can use one line, which is basically, Ya Allah, keep me strong. Ya Allah, keep me strong. Keep me on this straight path. There's too much around me, and I am weak, and I'm failing. Say this, Allah knows you're failing, and I am failing, and we are failing. Say it to Him, because this will remind you. And if you are sincere, for sure you are sincere, otherwise why you are asking? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not let you down. You don't know what will happen, how you will stay stronger and stronger. So number one is a dua, supplication. Number two, what do you think? Plenty of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kathra. And this is one of the few things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even in the Quran, He says kathira, plenty. What is plenty? What do you say when I eat too much means? I eat too much. You say, I eat too much. What does too much mean?
Maybe I'm going.
Till you feel you're almost sick and you feel uncomfortable. Some people says, you know what, I cannot even go to bed in the night and I have like indigestion, right? That's too much. Dhikrullah. Till you feel you cannot do this anymore, not because you're weak, because you really have had done a lot. And a lot in two things, a lot in quality and a lot in quantity. Quantity meaning time. How much of the 24 hours remove sleep that you are, or I am, or we are doing remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How much? If you look at today, each one of us, how many hours did we spend 1 hour in remembrance of Allah? And don't think of remembrance only remembrance, meaning I sit down and I remember Allah. Salah is remembering Allah, reading Quran is remembering Allah, asking Allah. Istighfar is remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did we collect this 1 hour? How long is our salah? Normally, right? If you do 5 minutes, that's too long. People say, wow, what is that? Right? Or if we do 5 minutes. So if you collect the whole salah, it's not going to be 30 minutes. Do we spend another 30 minutes in any form of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on daily basis? I'm not saying now, on daily basis. Kathratu dhikrillah. Plenty, plenty, plenty. And Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, this is actually Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas said the following, which is, it's coming from the hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, the shaitan is sitting there watching your heart and mine. SubhanAllah, Jathim, he's like sitting right there on the heart. When that heart becomes forgetful, oblivion, shaitan will start whispering. When the heart wakes up, shaitan will stop. And somebody asked me the other day, how do you know this is shaitan whispering? Or this is me wanting something? Shaitan will try many ways. For example, salah time comes in. And shaitan will gonna say, you know what, there is 30 minutes, or there's 1 hour left for the salah. And you're gonna say no. And then Allah brings back in your mind, like the most beloved deed to Allah is salah on time. So shaitan says, you know what, this didn't work. So I'm gonna do another trick. And I'm gonna say, oh, this is very important, you have to do it right now. So the tactics change. That's shaitan. That shaitan is whispering and making you weaker. Me, my nafs, our nufus will snag like a baby nag. I want it, I like it. This is your nafs talking. So now you know So in Ramadan, we always say this. In Ramadan, shaitan is chained. So when I disobey Allah, it's me. There's no other reason. So basically, a lot of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lot. And change it because we get bored. Change it, meaning, in the morning I did my salah, right? And then let's assume I did, alhamdulillah, my adhkar. Then I get very busy. As you're working, you're preparing, doing, if you're at home cooking, listen to the Quran, listen. That's dhikr of Allah. And you say, well, I'm not focusing. This is dhikr of Allah. It's way better than listening to something else, let alone talking on the phone. Allah knows what I'm saying, right? You get to your car, same thing. Okay, sometimes the heart gets full of the Quran, which shouldn't. As Sayyidina Uthman said the following, Allah, I love this saying was in every Quran school I attended. He says, Sayyidina Uthman, very famous line, he said, if our hearts are pure, we'll never have enough of the words of Allah. لو طهرت قلوبنا ما شبعت من كلام ربنا. If our hearts were pure, we'll never have enough of the words of Allah. But reality, you get tired, I'm overwhelmed. So fine, don't listen. Listen to something else. Why do I listen now? I change it. I put a lecture, a video, a YouTube, something to remind you of Allah. Sometimes you need nothing. You don't need to listen to anything. You need to be quiet and just look around you. Because that's one of the most beautiful way of reminding us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you look at a beautiful baby, when you look at a beautiful scene. This is all dhikr. This is all dhikr of Allah. When you talk to someone and that person is asking for advice, which is very common, and as you are advising that person, she or he, you are actually doing what? You are reminding them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's dhikr. It will make you stronger, make me stronger. So this is the thing, is what is my tongue is saying, which is 90% of the time is saying something. It needs to be something pleasing to Allah. It doesn't have to be da'wah and lecture all the time. I mean, not everybody can do that. But everything I am saying, even like I always remind myself in my office when we see patients, remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Even if they are non-Muslims, say the word God. That's remembrance. You remembered before they do. So kathratu dhikrillah, and the non-negotiable, I say this to myself, is you always have to do, because if you don't, then we start slipping, and slipping is the adhkar after salah. Don't move. Don't move. When I was taught this, subhanAllah, don't move. It's 2 minutes, it's 3 minutes, how long it takes you to do the few lines after each salah. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. It doesn't. The morning and evening adhkar takes about 20 minutes. But the salah, the adhkar after salah, remembering Allah, the traditional, what the Rasul taught us, takes 5 minutes. And see what it does for you. What it does for your heart. Subhanallah la ilah. So put this, every day read the Quran. Every day. And I ask this to everybody. How often you check your social media? Whatever social media you have. Right? Young and old. Right? And how many times you look at the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Reading. Even if I don't understand, it's not the best, yes, but at least I'm reading. I'm seeing his words versus I'm seeing. So kathratu dhikrillah. 4. Al-isti'ana billah. Turn to Allah and says, Ya Allah, help me. That's a ibadah actually. When you seek the help of Allah for something, that's by itself an act of worship. And we don't do this. Like anything you need, literally, and as simple as you're driving and assume your GPS is not working, or you put the wrong address, right? And the GPS is taking you somewhere else. What do normally we do? This GPS, whatever, they gave me the wrong address, and you start blaming, right? Whatever. Last person to blame is me, of course. It's always somebody else's fault. You turn and you say, Ya Allah, show me. Take me, guide me through the right way. Simple. That's dhikr, that's remembrance, and that's isti'ana, that you are asking Allah. So isti'ana is ask Allah to help you, to stay strong. So dua in general, but the one I shared with you, but ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you on the straight path. Every sujood. What does Rasul taught us? In his prostration in salah, what did he taught us? Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbat qalbi ala dinak. Oh, you, the one who change hearts, turn hearts, keep my heart on your deen, on your path, on your straight path, on your religion. Why is that? And he's a Rasul. every time I read this, I was like, Ya Allah, that means everyone it can happen to anybody. But of course, different levels, everyone has a different level. But the most important thing, he's teaching you and me, fact, that heart can change. And then there is a recipe for it. Ya muqallib al-qulub, the one who you turned out, keep my heart on your path. Next one, which is very nice because it's from Hadith of Rasulullah. The title may be difficult, but the Hadith will make it easy. The title says, keep being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Watchful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the title is tough. It's like, what does that mean? But then the Hadith says the following, which is a Hadith this morning, actually, it was after Fajr. And this Hadith repeated in everywhere. When Rasulullah Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was behind the Rasulullah on the camp. And then he turned to him, and he says, oh boy. And the scholar says he was a young boy. He was between 11 or 14. That's the age. He says, Ya ghulam, young boy, I'm teaching you something. Teaching you. So imagine when you turn to your son or your daughter and says, I'm teaching you something. That means this something is important. Ya ghulam, inni u'allimuka kalimat. I am teaching you words. And one narration, memorize them. This is the first one. Ihfadillah yahfadak. Be mindful of Allah. Allah will be mindful of you. Or regard Allah, Allah will guard you. There's a beautiful explanation, like 20 pages of this hadith. But what's easy for us to remember? And the scholar said, how do I guard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What do I do? What do I do? And he looked at the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word hafidu, guard, or keep, or be mindful. And he said, let's look at these. Let's apply these, Allah will protect me. And then the first one was hafidu ala salawat. Subhanallah, keep your salah. The 5, because here it says hafidu ala salawat was salatil wusta. Keep, guard your salah, especially the middle one, which is the afternoon one. So that's number 1. Remember what we said, keep your salah. What is the opposite will be? How Allah will guide me? How Allah will guard me? Or Allah will protect me? You don't feel this. You don't see that it's a hifdullah, right? You got invited to somewhere. And you know for a fact that when you're going to go to that place, there will be, or you will be weak, and you may slip in any way or form, whether slip of the heart, or the slip of the tongue, or the slip of the body. My heart will see things and like things, my tongue will say things, or my body will say things, right? I guarded Allah. I kept my salah. I struggled, but I kept it. What is going to happen? Something is going to happen. Either you're not going to go, or there's something going to happen, you're going to need to leave early, or Allah will send someone in that gathering. Pay attention to this because social life is the biggest problem we have. It's the biggest challenge for all of us. Or Allah will send someone that person will protect you, distract you, remind you, let's go for prayer, say something. Ihfadillah yahfadak. So the first one is look at the salah. Second one, subhanAllah, is from hadith of Rasulullah. And the hadith says the same word. لا يحافظ على الوضوء إلا مؤمن. Only the believer can protect and keep their wudu. And the same word, hafiz. And they say the person, subhanAllah, who keep their wudu, which is, you think it's easy, especially the time we are living in, where bathrooms is everywhere, right? I mean, how many bathrooms in our homes? Who doesn't have a bathroom in his house, right? Who doesn't have a hot water in his house? We all live in Africa, right? And which place we go and there is no bathroom. Which home you go, there is no bathroom. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, in our masjid, what a beautiful, clean bathrooms, right? But we don't do it. Alhamdulillah, we wash our hands. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. And there's signs everywhere. Put a sign inside your heart and says, do your wudu. It will take 2 more minutes. Basically, it will not even take 2 more minutes. Hafiz ala al-wudu. The believer will keep and guard the wudu. What's going to happen? Allah will guard you. So احفظ الله يحفظك. This is how it is. It's like I'm not doing it so Allah will guide me. But part of Allah Shakur, part of His name, the grateful, the way He will reward me for this, other than writing good deeds for me, He's going to protect me from slipping. And this is why when I go for Hajj and I go for Umrah and I go for these good, I come back stronger because I guarded Allah there. We were saying this the other day. What do we do when we go to Umrah? Look at your day. Right? Look at your day when we are then in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we do in Ramadan, even if we didn't go for Hajj and Umrah. Most of the day we are guarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say, this is Ramadan, I'm fasting. What will happen? He will give you energy to come to the masjid and stay 2 hours standing doing Taraweeh at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. And in other days you cannot do it. So, احفظ الله يحفظك. Keep this. Guard Allah. Lower your gaze. Lower your gaze, which is something we forgot completely. Subhanallah. Lower your gaze and see what Allah will give you in your heart. So basically, as much as you can, guard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will keep you strong. One of the most important one is the company. Company. I cannot re-emphasize the company, young or old. And as I say always, we are, mashallah, tabarakallah, party city. Literally, party city. Can easily get invited 3 times in a day. Am I wrong? In the weekend, right? Now, there is rules in this. There is the haqq of the Muslim. There is the right of the Muslim. You have to go as long as there is no disobedience of Allah. But you don't have to go to everywhere. And then when I go, I remember this. Who is going to be there? Not I love them, I like them. When I did this, they came. When I had this, they did. That's not for Allah. Are these people righteous people? Not necessarily they will give you a lecture, but at least they will keep you a good human being. When you sit with them, you're not going to hear she said, he said. And when you are with them, when they are eating, you're not going to learn or see wastefulness of food and it becomes normal. So مراقبة الصالحين, مصاحبة الصالحين. Find people who will remind you of Allah. And the Rasul ﷺ said in this hadith, Al-mu'min mar'at al-mu'min. The believer is the mirror of the believer. What does a mirror do? What does mirror do? Show you your beauty? Only? Sometimes you don't want to look at the mirror. Why? Right? You say, I'm not going to look at the mirror. Why? Because you know what you're going to see, right? You don't want to see it, right? But if you are getting ready to leave, you spend about 10, 15 minutes in front of the mirror. Because you like what you are seeing and you want to make it even nicer. Alhamdulillah, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as looking at the mirror is a way of staying strong by making the dua. When you look at the mirror, Ya Allah, just like you made me beautiful, make me internally beautiful. So al-mu'min mar'at al-mu'min. The believer is the mirror of the believer. So what does the mirror do? Shows the reality. The mirror does not hide. So the people who I am spending time with should be who? Not the people who will pamper me all the time. And people will praise me from morning to evening. And when I make a mistake, says, no problem. It's okay. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I don't want these people. Because that's what my nafs do all the time. From morning to evening, right? What does my nafs do? Does my nafs says, be careful, look where you are going? No, what does the nafs says? Oh, mashallah, you woke up for Fajr. Mashallah. Right? Alhamdulillah. No, I want somebody looking at me and says, that's it? You just came back from Hajj. Allah gave you all this. He invited you to His house. And you came back and that's it. This is what you do. And then for example, somebody says, I'm going to fast Thursday. Right? Some people say, MashaAllah, tabarakallah, you fast Thursday? Like Ashura. The mu'min mar'at al-mu'min, the believer, the mirror of the believer, what should say? Only Thursday? That's it. What about 9? Right? And you're going to say, well, I work, all these things. And then they say, so, 7 o'clock? Just like you skipped lunch at work. This is what you want. You want people, it's exactly like exercise. I look at this as like exercise. When you are with somebody who exercises 2 hours a day, every day, and there is people like that. I know these people. I know some of these people. like 2 hours a day, right? If you spend time with these people a lot of the time, what you will end up? Minimum loving exercise. Minimum saying, come on, yani they do 2 hours, at least 10 minutes, right? And gradually you will become like them. Same thing here. المرء على دين خليله, as Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam says. A person is the same way his friend is close friend here, he says. Close friends. And we do this with our children. SubhanAllah. We're so worried about our children, who they are, their friends, who let's check, the checking, who get their phone, who see who they are texting. But when it comes to us, we don't pay attention to this. So مصاحبة الصالحين, the company of the good people. Some people say, well, there is no good people anymore. I have a hard time believing this, number one, right? It has to be. Let's assume you live in the middle of nowhere, which is very unlikely. But there is no. What do? SubhanAllah, and this is when I remember the story, it gives me goosebumps. One of my friends, who some of you may know, and her son is blind since he was born, right? Yeah, SubhanAllah. Of course, what Allah gave him, including he got married, SubhanAllah. And his mother used to say, you know what, lucky him. You know who's his friends? And I said, who's his friends? Because not only he is blind, but also he has a little bit of issues, but very smart. He said he spent morning to evening listening to the stories of Sahaba. Yeah, she said he talks about them like they are his friends. SubhanAllah. The point I'm trying to make, if I cannot find these really righteous people, then they are there. If you every day you read 2, 3 lines, just lines, or listen. Now we cannot read. We don't have patience to read anymore. Have you seen if the email is 5 lines, you cannot finish it. It's too long. So listen, and that's why they made up the iBooks or the audio books these days, because now you listen. So learn about these people. Learn about the righteous human beings, the righteous people that you see. And these people don't think only before. There is righteous people among us. La ilaha illallah, when you see them, you cannot imagine. And they are true human beings, women, they're married, who have children, who they work, all this. SubhanAllah. So musahabat as-salihin. Spend your time with the righteous people. Next one is learning. I cannot stress on this. I cannot. Learning. Learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you learn about Allah alone, this is way more than enough to change me and change you. Ilm, knowledge. These days and age, and I say this to myself before anyone, Wallahi Allah, we will have no excuse when we are standing in front of Allah to say, I didn't learn. No excuse. And I can feel it personally when I used to prepare this halaqah. It used to take me 4 hours minimum. Because I have to translate and I have to open the books and look for. These days, la ilaha illallah. If you know the hadith, you just put their word. And the hadith comes in, translated, everything, you print it, done. The work that used to take an hour or 2 now takes 10 to 15 minutes. Let alone all these YouTubes, full. Sometimes I don't know which one I'm gonna listen, because I don't have that much time to listen to one subject. Make it part of your diet, part of your daily. Knowledge has to be daily in this day and age. Why? Because we are bombarded with the negative outside. You have to acknowledge this wherever you live. It doesn't matter where you live. Even if you're alone in the house. If you have TV, Allah al-Mu'in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only help us. So daily learn, whether it's a tape, whether it's a video, whether it's a lecture, anything that reminds you of Allah. And see where is your weakness. For example, let's say somebody lack patient, cannot. Everything has to be done, otherwise, or somebody has temper, which we all do, especially these days, because again of the availability of everything. Learn about that topic. Learn about it. I mean, this is not something you're going to memorize the Quran, is too tough and I cannot. Just listen. Do yourself a favor and listen. Ilm, ilm, and ilm. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. It's available, free. You pay money, you pay little, you pay a lot. You name it, it is there. But it definitely increased. And I remember when I first started studying, the advice I was given is like, you do not study this ilm, this knowledge, like you study medicine. This needs way more. This is exactly, I remember the advice. And I thought studying medicine for those of us who are physicians, it was the hardest thing ever. You memorize all the books, remember? And residency, don't even talk about it, right? And they said, nope, this is the ilm of Allah. Give it your heart. This is the first thing they said. Give it your heart before you give it anything else. And see what Allah will give you, which is so true. La ilaha illallah. How it becomes easy, becomes enjoyable, and becomes available. So ilm. Al-Quran. Reading the Quran. Part of your day. There's 3 levels of the Quran, inshallah. Next time we meet together, we're going to make this series of how do I understand the Quran, which we started 2 weeks ago. Quran is 3 levels. And I said this before, and I'm going to share it again because it helps all of us to remember. The beauty of the Quran is exactly like you are on the shore of the ocean. So you're on the beach and you see beauty, beautiful. If somebody asks you, where are you? You say, oh, I'm on the beach. I can't tell you. No, really, it's beautiful. I don't think there's anything as beauty as this. Sunset on the beach, right? Or there's waves, even when it is very, very harsh and it's very, the winds is very strong and you see the waves very high. It's breathtaking. True or false? Then move to people who are doing snorkeling. And they will see, they go and they will see just under the water. And they'll tell you haven't seen any beauty. Come down and just see all this beauty, all these animals, all these colors, all the beautiful. People who do deep diving, they will say to the people of snorkeling, you've seen nothing. This is just a superficial, just right there. Come down and see. So the people who are deep, they say to the people less deep, you don't see much. The people who are here, they will say, the people on the beach, you haven't seen much. This is the Quran. This is exactly how the Quran is. La ilaha illallah. The more you read, subhanallah, I was reading a surah this morning, which Allah knows how much I've read it. Right? First time ever, I noticed something. First time ever. I was like, La ilaha illallah. It's not a difficult surah. It's a surah that a lot of people know. But then you start, subhanallah, this is what it is. And then you start, especially when you read, and you know the surah, but you read it, and Allah will show you the beauty. The more you ask for the beauty, Allah will show you more. Read it with love. Don't look at it. Alhamdulillah, we have reverence to the Quran. Alhamdulillah, I will not say no. We still have it. If you see the Quran on the floor, what you normally do? You'll jump, and you will pick it up. Alhamdulillah, this is good news. We still feel it. Not like these days when Salah time comes in and you're in a gathering and half people don't get up for Salah. Usually. Right? So we lost this reverence of Salah. But reverence for the Quran, we still have it. Ya Allah, keep it. And keep the reverence for all your symbols. As we have the reverence to the Quran, when we look at it, we need to work on ourselves to have the reverence when you open it. And I've said this many times and will repeat it again. Firstly, when you open the Quran, before even you read anything, say to yourself the following. These are the words of my Lord. هذا كلام ربي. This is the words. It's his words. Imagine someone you love, someone so dear to you, and they call you on the phone. What do? You don't talk to anybody. Actually, you will go and you close the door and you want to enjoy it. Especially true or false, somebody close to you, any human being close to you, I just want to hear their voice. You keep talking. And then people say, I don't have anything else to say. Just keep saying anything because I want to hear it. That's when you love someone. True or false? You want to hear their voice. Then you want to hear their words. What about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So when you look at the Quran, when you open the Quran, say this. هذا كلام ربي. This is the words of my Lord. And number 2, say, these are for me. It's a private talk. He's talking to me, to you, us. And see what Allah is saying. Sometimes he's subhanallah, and look at these, it's a few concepts. Sometimes he introduces himself to you and me. SubhanAllah. Allahu alladhi. Allahu huwa. Huwa Allahu alladhi. All these ayat, he's introducing himself to you and me. So I have no excuse. I was like, you know what? I didn't know you're Rabbi. Well, read my words. Like when you say, for example, again, example from life. When you go for a physician, right? These days, every physician has a website, right? And what's on the website? Who's that physician, right? This is this and this and this, graduate, whatever, did, interest, all this. And then you say, you know what? This is good. I think If you go to a website and there is no talk about the physician, what are you going to say? I know who they are. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the exalted, He's introducing Himself to you and to me in the Quran. Look at the Quran this way. I think we need to change the way we look at the Quran. It's not only the book of Allah and I know. That's how we say. Oh, I know. Qul huwallahu ahad. I know since I was 2 years. No, don't look at it this way. Say, this is the words of Allah. He's teaching me about Him, subhanahu. Every letter I am going to read, I'm going to be rewarded. You all know that. But remind yourself, dhakr. So make a part of your day, 10 minutes, to read a juz, to read the whole para, as you say it, which is 20 pages of the Quran. How long it takes? Usually
40 minutes for me.
40 minutes, half hour, 20 minutes. The average is 20 to 25 minutes. The average is speed. But if you are reading it slower or you're reading the commentary, then it will take 40 minutes, right? Okay, 40 minutes is too long. I don't have 40 minutes. I'll make it easy for you. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening. The juz is done. 10 minutes meaning you read about 3 pages. And 3 pages in the afternoon, 3 pages in the evening. SubhanAllah, I know that person very well, right? And of course now Allah gave her the book of Allah memorized. Cook, she has to cook. Family and children, they have to cook. She has it there on a special, like the carrier of the Quran there, right? And she looks and reads. Because she works and she has children, so having this 10 or 15 minutes may not be reality every day. My point is, don't give yourself excuses. Have this resolve. Why did I share the first hadith with you? The first thing I start by, أسألك العزيمة على الرشد. The resolve and determination to stay on the straight path, that's where it comes. The resolve. When I love something, I do it, ladies, if it takes 6 or 8 hours. I always say this, and I always bring this for my Indo-Pakistani friends. How long it takes you to make a biryani? I watched it one day, I was like, forget it. All this chopping of the onion, I cannot do that. It's too much for me, right? Yes. SubhanAllah. Every person from that part of the world does it, right? These days, some of you may order, but in general, right? You do it. You don't like it. A lot of people don't like it, but you do it, right? You take another part of the world, you come here to the making a fries. How long it takes to make a fries? How messy it is to fry a fries? People does it because they like it. My point, when I like something, I spend time, I enjoy it. So this is what I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make me love your words. That's the thing, because the problem is not I'm lazy, because I don't have this, I don't feel it. SubhanAllah, I don't feel it. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you love His word. The last but not the least, which is going to be a little bit unpleasant. Stay away from disobedience. Stay away from disobedience categorically, because disobedience, what it does, the disobedience will make me weaker and will make me more and more disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is disobedience to Allah? What is disobedient to Allah? Watching TV. I wouldn't say watching TV categorically. I have to be specific, because I could be watching TV and I'm watching a show to teach me how to memorize Quran. That's alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. So I will say watching TV when there is disobedience of Allah. That's what I would say. Everything, by the way, everything can be in a state of disobedient to Allah or a state of obedient. So watching TV, what's the common haram we do? Looking. Like when we walk in the street here, how much disobedience we see around us. And we look at it. Lower your gaze. Second, or probably the same level, if not even more, biggest disobedience of Allah we do is tongue. Not only backbiting, saying things that is not appropriate, saying things that's foul language, saying things that's not pleasing to Allah, let alone backbiting, let alone putting people down. Even they are with me, but I put them down. All these, the biggest one is the tongue. Stay away from the disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more I stay away from the disobedience, the stronger I am. So, and the last but not the least is the istighfar. This is specific, actually. Scholars put this special away, not including in the dhikr, because that has a special place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah An-Nisa, which I love this ayah, there's a lot of beautiful commentary. Allah says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Allah said, he's talking about the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, and he's talking to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, and he said the following: Allah will not punish them as long as you are with them. So that's for the people of Medina. What about us? وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. And Allah will not punish them as long as they are asking for forgiveness. And that applies to every nation, everybody after Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And punishment of Allah, don't think punishment of Allah, disasters only. Punishment of Allah, you know what? One of the punishments of Allah, He push you away from Him. Subhanallah, that's a punishment, we don't feel it. Push you away from it. That salah is not something you're interested in anymore. Reading Quran becomes difficult. Obeying Allah is not enjoyable. That's one of the punishments as a result of my disobedience. So keep asking Allah for istighfar. And the easiest one, try this practical. How many of you drive every morning? Whether to work or take the children to school, you have to do this or do that every morning. 10 minutes, don't do anything but say astaghfirullah. Or any form of istighfar. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin. Any form of istighfar you know. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa wa atubu ilayh. Keep doing this 10 minutes. Allah. So a lot of istighfar, like especially in the time of response, or the best times to answer your supplication. For example, now between adhan and iqamah, when it rains, after each salah, before sunset, before sunrise, and before sunrise or before fajr, actually sahar time. All these are times where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He responds all the time, but these special times the response is even more. He said so, subhanahu. Then you look for that istighfar. So I'm going to summarize what we learned so you all know, inshallah. Number one is dua. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, dhikr of Allah. And add to this so you don't forget, put it number three is Quran. Four, seek knowledge. Keep doing that. Five,
Good company.
company. Absolutely. And this actually can come together. Usually, probably, you will know this is the best people you meet are the people who you meet them when there's an obedience to Allah. Whether you meet them in the masjid, whether you meet them in a trip to that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether in a class. So, company. Stay away from disobedience. A lot of istighfar. Ask Allah for forgiveness. A lot of istighfar. Remembrance of Allah, we said that. Extra good deeds, maybe I did not say this. A lot of good deeds, and I'm going to quickly say this because alhamdulillah, we still have some time. Good deeds are two things. Good deeds between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every good deed, extras, extra prayers, extra spending, extra reading Quran, that's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there's something between you and the people. Good deeds, and number one good deed is forgiving people. Forgiveness. People who hurted you, people did whatever they did for you. Don't worry about it. And one of the ways, alhamdulillah, when I was taught is think how much you disobey Allah, and then Allah still give you. SubhanAllah, He still give us. Sometimes we ask for specific things and He gives us exactly, and we disobey, and He still give us. That's His name is Al-Ghafur Ar-Rahim. And if Allah does this with me, how can I not do this with human beings? Whatever they did, they talked, they backbite you, they hurted you, they did that, they did this, doesn't matter. Khalas, forgive them. They don't forgive you, you forgive them. And I always say this to myself, I am going to be standing in front of Allah alone. You will be standing in front of Allah alone. He's going to ask me about my deeds. He's not going to ask me about your deeds. So Allah, between you and the people, forgiveness. Help people as much as you can without expecting anything. If they do it for you, alhamdulillah. If they didn't do it, alhamdulillah. If they said, Jazakillah khair, alhamdulillah. They didn't say it, alhamdulillah. They go out and talk negative about you after you did all this good thing. It doesn't matter. You are dealing with whom? With Allah. Because if you deal with people, you'll be very tired, unfortunately. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we are ungrateful to Allah. We're going to be grateful to people. So, absolutely, this is our nature. SubhanAllah, all of us. This is human being nature. So, help people. Give, be a giver, a continuous giver to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forgive and pardon. If you cannot do any of these things, I love that part actually. Don't hurt them. Keep them there. And that's a good deed because you, especially when you can hurt people, and we all can, at least by the tongue, if you stopped yourself from hurting someone, that's a good deed. So extra good deeds. And be a hunter of a good deed. SubhanAllah, hunter of good deed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those. Ya Rabbi, Ameen. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinak. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinak. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما كثيرا جزاكم الله خيرا.